James Casbolt mentioned he could see strange signals coming from broadcast radio, TV and mobile phone transmitters. With a trained eye, you can actually see these black signals. We investigate this in part 2 of Basis 4. This brings us into the realm of Irish pirate radio on a big scale. So we visit the Irish era of pirate radio to connect positive ET contact with social evolution. We introduce the direct connection with popular music broadcast radio and higher awareness via thought-encoded music media. The Irish era of pirate radio, a series recording the development of these radio stations as part of an investigation by the Irish UFO Research Centre in the 1970s. For the first time, we connect the Irish radio stations led by Radio Caroline with the massive expansion of world culture via the music of the 1960s, which was later repeated in Ireland on a massive scale in the late 1970s and 1980s with major Caroline-connected stations such as Big D Radio in Dublin, Sunshine Radio, Radio Nova and KissFM, amongst many, many others, and Sky Television. Here we highlight just 2 stations. The famous Radio Caroline and the last Super Pirate, an FM border blaster called Energy 106 Belfast, which had blatant ET and even alien abduction situations. We connect Caroline with some form of ET awareness.
Could you give us your regarded opinion on this nonsense about spaceships and even space people?
A possible reason why it was specially protected over its 30 years of offshore broadcasting. Board the ship in the late 1980s and then bring you Belfast alien abductee Lawrence John, abducted by ETs 4 times.
Loving awareness is free. Is free. Is free.
This era of Irish pirate radio started with Radio Caroline, a radio ship fitted out by Ronan O'Reilly in his father's docks in Greenore, Carnford Lough. This connects directly with UFO activity. This area is known for its mysterious undersea UFOs, UFOs in the Mourne and District area, cattle mutilations, and some even say UFO bases exist off the coast in the Irish Sea, south of the infamous Machrihanish base in Scotland. Caroline was one of the key instruments for massive social changes in the 1960s, and the stations which followed her in Ireland had the same effect in the 1980s. It's vital to understand that while all other stations were taken off the air, like Laser 558,
Laser 558,
Caroline stayed on air until Mrs. Thatcher had it raided by the Dutch in 1989. So we go on board Caroline's 3rd and final ship, the Ross Revenge, in the late 1980s. So what quality or force did Caroline have that made UK-based armed forces stay as far off her bows as possible? In short, what scared the living hell out of the Royal Navy that made this ship so dangerous to them that they must not take any direct action against her?
This is Radio Caroline on 199, your all-day music station. The time right now is 1 minute past 12, and that means it's time for Christopher Moore.
Hello and happy Easter to all of you. This is Christopher Moore with the first record program on Radio Caroline.
This is Radio Caroline. It is now 12 midnight.
Could it be loving awareness, or could it be Caroline's ET connections? And what lies in Carlingford Lough, and the spirit of free thought, which also drove the Irish pirates for 4 decades? It's very clear Caroline had a unique property which kept the UK's government forces from taking her on directly. Unusual circumstances also created Energy 106, which was to have station manager Lawrence John abducted by aliens or maybe a government MyLab truck 4 times.
Energy 106.
Engineering test transmission. We've had men up the tower. We've been adjusting everything just to make the signal as right as we can, just right for you, down in Belfast. Transmitting on 106.6 megahertz in stereo. This is Energy 106 test transmissions in 1998, 10 years after the original ITS on 103.7.
New line of equipment.
The Irish era has further examples. In County Monaghan, 2 FM stations were built by myself, KissFM 103.7 in 1987 and Energy 106.6 in 1996. These were some of the most powerful FM stations ever built, with over 1 million watts of effective radiated power.
This frequency is energized with intelligence transfer sequencing.
Miles on your radio.
Love 2001 with Seb Fontaine, Dave Angel, Sandro Kleinenberg, Joey Negro and Fergie. 6 store and usual outlets nationwide.
Both had ET connection, and we investigate this now.
Love 2001, it's time.
The important thing is that during the transmissions of Energy 106, we perceived and observed pendrylic fluidic life forms like black pendrylic octopuses and spiders, a complete distortion of the space-time reality of the container where the transmitters were housed, so that, for instance, these tall transmitters, which we can see from below with this camera, we were able to actually see above quite easily, as the entire inside of the container was distorted in space-time.
This is here because of alien activity, positive healing, positive activity from a whole range of ETs and people who are also human, working to make this place a positive place. Right now, there are international key people feeding positive energy right into this transmitter building right now. This is because we have been attacked by negative entities who do not want the peace and the wisdom and the intelligence transfer to propagate. This is the site where KISS 103.7 FM in Monaghan initiated the peace process in Northern Ireland because of contact with ETs right here.
Kiss FM. Kiss FM. Hot hits. Kiss FM. Hot hits. Kiss FM. Hot hits. Kiss FM.
Todd Rundgren, can we still be friends at 6:15? This is the most difficult job I ever had in my life. Not the job itself, but doing this tonight. With 15 minutes left in it, I have with me at this particular point one of the guys I mentioned earlier, Miles Johnston. Hi,
Who's
Miles.
he?
Okay, let's keep it succinct, huh?
Yeah. Thank you very much for letting this facility get on the air, everybody.
Okay, guys. Thanks very much for all that stuff. I'm not going to run through a staff list. Everybody here at the station knows who's involved. I'm just going to mention one guy who doesn't work for us. John Rossborough is waiting for a star to fall. That star doesn't fall for another 5 minutes.
The circumstances that brought KISS FM into being were highly unusual, as if an external force had created events to ensure it could happen. I wonder who did that. Thus the term Intelligence Transfer Sequence was born, or ITS.
For the last time, we are 103.7 KISS FM, waiting for a star to fall. Okay, John, you're not a bad guy, really. Who were they? Boy meets girl. With just a couple of minutes left here at the station, very nearly time for KISS FM to say farewell to you all. I hope that we've thanked everyone that we had to. If we missed you out, apologies, we'll mention you as soon as we return. And as you know by now, tomorrow, Saturday, 31st, the new legislation, the Broadcasting and Wireless Telegraphy Act 1988, comes into force. We have to close before then. We really don't want to go, but we just have to. In a few minutes' time, at 6 o'clock, 103.7 KISS FM will fall silent for the final time. And wherever you are at precisely 6 o'clock, just blow your car horn, blow it long, blow it loud. Show us your support. Your solidarity. Let the world know that you demand a choice in radio listening. Let the powers that be know that you want your KISS FM. Before we depart, I'd just like to highlight some of the lyrics from our final song tonight. Before you point the finger and hope the whole thing disappears, remember empty words will fall and fall upon the deafest ears. We won't give in without a fight and foul play without a doubt. No silver lining to be seen in this thundercloud. Your money fills their pockets, fear fills their tiny minds. At last the world is talking now. This ain't no way to treat mankind. A sudden blackout stops the show, but doesn't stop the way I am, because all my life I've been oppressed. You're not the first to say I am. I do all I can. For an ideal world where we're free to choose, for an ideal world we're no longer born to lose. In the ideal world, we could start again. Now in my real world, let's put an end to suffering. From all of us at KISS, until we meet again, goodbye, God bless, and thank you. KISS FM time is 6 o'clock. 103.7 is now closing down.
KISS was actually a test to recreate the effects of a massive UFO wave that happened in Ireland in the 1970s and the social development and effects that ensued.
FM 103.7 in stereo. We are KISS FM.
And it's back. The only reason it's back is because of ETs and positive ET contact, which right now is going on. The energy is being fed into this place, which is why it's called Energy 106, because Lawrence was abducted or disappeared for a number of days in the St. Patrick's Chair and Well area.
As energy lies in ruins after 4 raids since 2004, Lawrence, the station owner, finally discusses other stations to try to keep on air, and for the first and only time, his 4 encounters with beings at St. Patrick's Chair and Well.
Well, where's Magic Storm? There's another one that comes back, so don't make the best of it.
How is he getting away with it?
Yeah. Well, you can pick it up. No, at the bottom of it. He's at the top of the Aggies.
Of what, the energy one?
No, the mast on the hill further down to the energy one. But then you haven't been down there for so long, you don't know the second mast there.
I know where the second mast is, yeah. But, has the landowner been served with papers yet?
No.
But he will be eventually.
Could be, yeah.
After 9 years of broadcasting, Energy 106 creator LJ, or Lawrence John, finally discusses his abductions with Miles Johnston.
Yeah.
Depressing. Depressing. Kind of see him depressed.
Yeah. So how long did Energy last for in its current form?
7 years.
Went on October. We came over October
1997.
You resigned on air on City Beat.
That was 95 or 6, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And 97 we got on the air. So, no, 97 we started. I think it was 98 we got
did
on
the
air.
Belfast bit first.
Yeah. But 98 I think Energy started then. In fact, I think
the high power started in 98, but we were on the air in 97 summer. No, we were on the air for 6 months in the city.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right. And that was 96 or 97.
And then you went up one morning on a nice Saturday morning in May.
Yes.
And there was a couple of people waiting for you.
Yes.
The Receiving Research Centre.
Welcoming committee. And then we took a year to get the operation up and running, or planned, even before the aerials got up. So it must have been July 98.
Well, we had the temporary aerials running all summer.
And it was the following July.
July the 4th.
And 99. Was that 99 though?
That was 98.
98 it was, yeah. 98. And that was up, and then we finished the raids here. Were in what? March?
May 2004. But then we got back on the air.
But the recent raid, the last raid, the final raid
was February 2005.
Well, that was it then.
That's when he physically took the transmitter line
and sabotaged the aerials.
So why did you call it Energy? What was the history behind that?
Well, that was because I was energised after a visit to several visits to St. Patrick's Chair and Well.
Is that just the fresh air and the sweet, peaceful music.
I think it was something in the Earth's magnetic field or course, whatever it is. It's an energized area. Isn't it the meeting of ley lines and all that?
Something like that. I think it's the water under the
But
rock.
it's an energized area.
A
Anyway.
healing area.
So that was where energy came from, because I was full of energy whenever I came back from that area.
You went walkies for a couple of days?
Aye, you could say that, walking in the air, as the song goes.
Walking in the air?
Aye.
Which song's that?
Walking in the Air.
Is that by
Aled Jones from The Snowman.
Oh,
We're
yes.
walking
Oh, yes,
in
that's
the
right.
air. I haven't got a voice high enough for that.
I think you'd need to... Yeah. So what happened when you went walking in the air?
Well, not a lot that I can remember, but when my feet hit the ground again, I was positively energized, and that was where the name came from.
But did they not serve McDonald's? Stuff like that?
No,
What did you eat for 5 days?
I did drink from a saucer. It could have been milk of amnesia.
Oh, right.
I think that's probably what it was.
Milk of magnesia or milk of
Well,
amnesia?
in view of the fact that I can't remember anything, I have to presume it was milk of amnesia.
You didn't meet the little people, did you? No.
Well, they were small enough, about 5 feet tall.
My God. Wasn't Brian Robinson there? No.
They were slightly taller than Brian. Sorry, Brian.
And did they have anything to say? I mean, basically, I suppose they were fed up the Kissing closed and they wanted somebody to put it back on because they didn't have any decent music to listen to.
That could well be, but the only bits that I remember were not about the radio station. So, whilst it may be true,
Well, what bits did you remember?
just the bit of being inside the craft.
But how did you get there?
Obviously transported. I mean, I woke up in the craft, so, or at least I remember just suddenly being in the craft.
So you drove down there and had a wee walk with Lobo, the space dog.
Well, it's been reasonably well documented. I bent down to pick him up off the ground, to put him back in my jeep, to meet you, Mr. Johnston, I think, or was it Peter
Well, this was at
McChrystal?
night, I think.
At 9 o'clock, yes.
Yeah, that was...
and I was to be in Monaghan at 9, but this was about 8:30.
Scott Bingham was going down to see you.
Oh, that was a subsequent occasion.
That was the third time?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And on the first occasion, I had an hour missing, and the only bits I remembered were being in the craft, being offered a drink on a saucer which was levitated towards me, and the dog seemed to be communicating with them, or vice versa.
Right.
But I've no idea what they were talking about because it was in doggy language.
Oh, right. So basically, they left the dumb human behind, but talked to the
Well,
dog.
they spoke to me in my voice, so I presume they were speaking his tongue as well, you know.
So Lobo wasn't alarmed?
No, he was sitting quite calmly on a like a bench top of some sort.
Very good.
Sitting on his hind legs, not lying down, but sitting up on his hind legs and talking to them, you know, resting on his hind legs.
Yeah. So very good. And how many of these geezers were there?
How many of the creatures on that occasion? I think there were 3 on that first occasion, but there was numerous amounts on various. On the 4 occasions whenever I had these experiences, there were varying amounts, but there were, I think, 3 on the first occasion from memory.
Right. And were they all the same?
Oh, look, basically the same. You know, you've seen one alien, you've seen them all.
No, but there's different types. I mean.
Oh, they were all the same type. Yes, what you would probably call the standard grey, stereotypical grey.
There wasn't anybody else around?
No other humanoids or human beings or pets or anything.
Did they have big almond eyes or round, small eyes? No.
Oh, the almond eyes. Yes, he remembers.
We're talking about Lobo, and there is Lobo.
You remembered the almond eyes of the aliens, didn't you? You were talking to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking to the alien. Aye. Sit now.
I think you must be remembering.
Globo remembering. But Globo wants to talk about. Globo wants to talk about aliens.
Right, that's enough behave now. It was quite calm until we started talking about the aliens again. Go on over down. Go on. Go on down there. Go on. Over
So,
down there.
do you think Globo can see one now? Globo, can you see one now?
I doubt it.
Is there any aliens about here now? Yes, there must be. Hello, Globo. So that's exciting.
Well, it was then, and now it's not very exciting because we don't have any radio station anymore. So,
did they have any effect on what you wanted to do at the station? I mean, did they?
No, but they obviously inspired
the name,
the name, and a very positive energy. So, and for some reason, I ended up with a format that seemed to be quite what's the word? Seems to have been perhaps inspired by that. It's kind of trance music.
Yeah.
Because I had every intention of just doing what Kiss FM previously on 103.7 had been doing, basically just today's pop and rock.
Yeah.
But for some reason I was led into, and don't know why, but I was led into this kind of pop trance area of dance music, and a lot of which was without lyrics, just dreamy trance music that you could drift off to or enjoy and relax, or enjoy the beat of it, or both.
It's funny, that song that's playing at the moment is the song that was played on Kiss in Portadown, where it got rated.
Yeah.
Way back in '84, '85.
And I haven't heard it on the radio in years, and it just happens to be on whenever you're videoing.
I know, isn't that strange?
It is.
So you had 4 bites at the cherry then?
I had 4, but the last one was the scary one, and I had nightmares, and still have the odd flashback or two of being chased by evil aliens.
And what were they like?
I have no idea, because I was so frightened by them that I couldn't look at them, and just remember running and running and running.
And where was that?
Same area, in the area of St Patrick's Charonwell.
Was that last August or?
Oh no, that was a year or two after the original.
Oh right.
Abduction.
That would have been year 2000.
It's all quite so long ago now, so I can't remember the original dates, but I think the 4th and final occasion was, if my memory serves me correctly, a couple of years after the original. Because I was going back with the intention and hoping, because the first 3 experiences had all been very positive, so I kept going back for more, as you would.
Yeah.
It was addictive, like drugs would be, I suppose, or any addiction. So I went back looking for more until my bad experience, and that frightened me, so I didn't want any more of that.
Oh my God.
So I haven't been down looking to repeat any experience.
Right. So it must have been, wasn't the taxman or something trying to get you?
That would have been equally scary, but this was more scary. I was just lucky to come back, or be back where I
But you were gone for quite a while, a third time.
3 days. The police, the RUC, the Gardaí, forest rangers, and the mountain rescuers were all looking in the same area for 3 days, and I'm right in the middle of them.
Yeah, that would be. So you're right in the middle of them.
I was right in the middle of them, yeah. Or at least I appeared right back in the middle of them. So it suggests I wasn't there the whole time, otherwise they would have found me.
It was late at night. I got a call from them at 1 in the morning.
Well, it happened late at night, yes.
Yeah. Scott Bingham went down.
That was the night Scott went down, yes.
Yeah. Because he phoned me up and found your van.
Aye, the back door was left open as I opened the door, saw the lights, ran towards them, and that's the last thing I remembered until
So
3 days later.
Did the lights come from St Patrick's Chair, or did
They came from that direction, but the lights were shining through the forest, so I ran towards them, and that's the last thing I remember until the police found me wandering in the middle of the forest 3 days later.
Right.
So, as I say, flashbacks of being chased through the forest by frightening beings that I couldn't see, but was obviously frightened of and was running. You know,
that was the fourth time, or the third?
No, that was the fourth time. Yeah. The other times were all, excuse me, very positive. All very positive experiences, and that's why I kept going back for more. But after the only frightening experience, I naturally didn't go back, because obviously I didn't want to go through the same thing again, or even risk going through the same thing again.
You haven't been any visits from anybody on this side?
No, not to this point anyway.
So what did the little guys look like, or I mean, what colour were they? Or
Greys, typical stereotype that you'd see in posters or.
Yeah, it's just there's quite a few different types, I suppose.
Well, as I say, I've seen several similar on posters, commercially available posters. Greys with a long flowing robe.
Oh right. Like, was it the Star Spangled Banner robe, or?
No, grey robes. I'd imagine the kind of shroud effect that you have on these greys, that when they seem to be just draped in something,
right,
which covers their outline, apart from their head.
Yeah. Were they sort of grey in colour, like
grey in colour?
Undercoat colour grey, or
undercoat grey? Yeah.
Undercoat grey.
Well, I say that. There's degrees of grey. It was a silvery grey.
Yeah.
Silvery grey.
And did the eyes look as if they were like glasses? Could you take the eyes off?
Yeah.
The eyes would unwrap.
They were slanted, like almond shape.
Sort of up almond or cross almond, or?
It was possibly either, because it seemed to be the angle. Not having seen them for very long, it's difficult to know because of the shape of their eyes whether they're actually going up or whether they're going straight. The shape of their eyes was the most noticeable character, that they were almond shaped.
But did they have any nose or mouth?
Almost no nose. Virtually no mouth. It was almost, there were like features that were like not there.
They didn't speak acoustically. It was just always in your voice.
It was like my voice, you know. It was like they were in an effort to communicate. If you were French and you were in France, you'd want to communicate in French to be understood, I suppose. And they were obviously doing something similar, speaking in my language so that I would understand them, but using my voice. Hello, energy.
What was the positive thing? I mean, if nothing really happened, what
positive, I just felt fully charged and euphoric, and was whenever I could have done a triathlon whenever I didn't sleep for 2 days. It was just up all the time, you know, constantly feeling energized, wanted to do things, and full of beans, as I say.
So there wasn't any sort of abduction thing on a table and all that sort of stuff that some people...
Well, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I don't have any recollection other than seeing these people kind of face to face and talking.
What was the maximum number you saw?
4 or 5. 4 or 5.
In a big room, small room?
Well, it was a craft of some sort, but it was very spacious.
What was the walls like?
Appeared to be spacious. It seemed to be open plan, for want of a better description, but I did see to my extreme left in that direction what would be technical equipment. You know, there were lights and I don't know.
Did they have any colour? Or?
Yes, there were different lights. When I say lights, the lights of like electrical or hi-fi or stereo or navigational equipment, whatever it was, it just seemed to be, let's say, equipment that was illuminated in various ways by whatever lighting effects, or obviously all sorts of little gizmos and gadgets, no doubt. You know, it was quite a bit in the distance, so I couldn't make out what it was like.
So when you say distance, are you talking about 100 metres or 50 feet?
No, I'm talking like about maybe 30, 40 feet away, you know.
Was there any furniture to sit on?
No.
wasn't any kind of a door to come in and out of? Or?
Didn't notice the door anyway, unless it was behind me. I remember facing that direction. The lights were over here, and the aliens were just in front of me here. And the dog was to my left, but he was sitting on some sort of bench or worktop or tabletop or.
Looked like IKEA.
I don't know whether it was IKEA or not, but I wasn't kind of.
What was the colour of the structure?
There didn't seem to be much colour in the whole place. Everything seemed to be kind of like greyish. Everything seemed to be kind of. Well, my first recollection was all white, but then that kind of settled to become a grey kind of colour.
So it was the same place each time?
Yeah. But I remember very little of it. The first occasion was the most vivid, I think, possibly because it was first. And the other occasions were hardly anything that I can remember that was any different than the first one.
But what led to the scary thing, the fourth one? Can you recall why you were running?
Well, I was running from something that I was frightened of. Some
in the forest?
Yeah, something behind me was chasing me.
Daylight?
No, it was darkness. Something was chasing me in the dark through the forest, and that was the only memory that I have, but of this constant chase. And it seemed to go on like forever. It just seemed to be.
You were running through the forest?
I was running through the forest, and I was being continually chased by.
Any noise?
What's that?
Was there any noise?
No, not that I'm aware of. It was just this overpowering sense of fear by something that was coming from behind me. And I just kept running, and as I say, I don't have any memory of what it looked like because I either saw it, or I either did see it, or and forgot it, or I never saw it at all, and I was just frightened of it. But it's quite possible that I did actually get to see it, and that's what frightened me. But it was maybe so shocking that I don't remember it, and I don't want to remember it, or my mind won't let me remember it.
Yeah.
But I knew it. I was very frightened, and I was just running, and that's the only flashback that I get. And afterwards, I couldn't remember anything other than that, and that's still the same flashback that I get. Occasionally, I used to get it regularly, but not as much now.
Right. In terms of the, do you remember things at night, or do you disturb dreams?
Dreams, flashbacks in my dreams of it. You
can't recall anything in the flashback.
No, never got anything other. It's the same thing over and over again. And the first time, when it happened, shortly after it happened, I was still scared. I could still remember the fear, and it could have been just so much that my mind. It could be that my mind was shutting it out because it was so frightening.
So, the situation now is you haven't had any experiences since?
No, haven't been looking for them.
You mentioned Wonderland and Cliff Richard and all that stuff. That was just
What was that?
You mentioned something about being in Wonderland.
Oh, that was a different experience. Not those kind of experiences. That's like in a dream where I'm on this other planet and I'm surrounded by all the great talents that have since left this world. And I had inspiration then to start producing music that I heard in these dreams, and I've been doing that for a couple of years now.
With some success?
Well, a little.
Yeah.
Nothing major yet, but let's say Radio Ulster and even Downtown and Cool have been playing some of the songs, so BBC Radio Leeds and a few stations in the mainland have played them. So we'll see what the future brings, but certainly I wouldn't have had a clue how to make these recordings until I had these kind of dreams of being in Wonderland.
What was that? A bit like Alice in Wonderland, or what?
Well, I call it Wonderland because it's obviously it's an awesome place that you couldn't imagine.
Trees,
it's like a
paradise.
It's like paradise, and
is it warm?
All these, yeah, but you can go from one climb it to another by just walking to the end of the street. I don't know whether it's in the mind or whether it's on this planet or wherever it is, but you can be walking in snow and you can be walking in sunshine, and as I say, the distance from here to the end of the street.
When does these things happen? They just happen in dreams?
Well, it happened in dreams a couple of years ago now, so I haven't had too much recently, but it inspired me at the time to try to record ideas that I got from these dreams, and the ideas have resulted in things like Build Me a Buttercup, and The Gambler, and the album Stars in Clubland, which was really the most accurate I've come, because that's the original songs, but in the style that I remembered them from in the dreams, or was inspired to do from the dreams.
Well, it's all very sad, but hope the future's...
Yeah, it's a case of I'm guilty of entertaining people, and they're throwing a book at me. So.
Even while LJ was taking an Energy 106 promotional parade through Belfast with some of the local girls he hired for the day, the ETs made their presence known in this simple, harmless way.
Well, something very strange has happened. Two white blips that Miles saw off in the distance here. What direction would they be, Miles?
Just there.
Okay.
But I normally get them right about there. Sometimes
on the other side. Huh? What direction is that?
That would be towards Oma, so that would be
northwest. Right, northwest. That's where they came from last night. Northwest. So the car is stuck. The immobilizer turns off okay, there's no problem, just that it won't start, and the temperature gauge is fine. So we don't know what the hell's going on. Something's affecting as it has done in the past with UFOs, something's affecting the electrics on this. Absolutely insane. And it does happen. So we got two guys shooting each other
we got
again here.
500,000 watts coming off that.
So that could interfere with it. Yeah. Yeah, but it's not going. Shouldn't be going down. Should have been grounded though, Miles here.
Yeah. Well, it's.
And Mary's, something happened to that. It turned itself off, and I can't get it on because I don't know the pin number. Isn't that lovely? Well, folks, this is just some of the anomalies that happen on Alien Mountain, I'm sure. The car won't go at all. Even the immobilizer light isn't working. I don't know what the hell's going on. That's after we saw the two white blips in the northwest. Right over here. Now everybody's concerned about this car, Lady Hawk. We're going to see if we can get it pushed and see what the hell's going on here and get it started, because it's a real weirdo thing that happened. Miles has gone over to investigate this very strange light that's just come on. It looks like it's, I don't know. We're going to keep an eye on that, folks, just to see what it might be. Wow. Nope. Let's try to configure this. So what is it?
It's a damn bright, whatever it is.
It's very bright, and
what is it?
On a, you got it on. You,
bright light, whatever it is.
Can you get that column on your camera?
That is really.
Well, it's stationary though, so we'll see what happens to it. It might be from Larkin's garage, I hope. There's Miles, this is the guy from Larkin's garage. Never seen anything like this before where the light stays on completely.
Oh, it's still thinking. Oh, yeah.
You know, on the dash.
I tell you, there's about 5 of them here, Tom, with 5 video cameras on me.
Brilliant orbs of light the size of footballs were not the only UFOs we saw. While rigging at Energy's tower on a late April the 27th, 2004 evening, in perfect blue sky conditions, myself and one of the tower riggers were looking up at the tower. What we saw was this space plane overfly our tower at approximately 10,000 feet. We looked in awe, swearing loudly, "What the hell was this?" While I had a Canon A1 power-winding 35mm SLR only yards away, the craft was gone over the horizon over Belfast within 8 seconds. Its size, relative to other 747s flying overhead at 35 to 40,000 feet, would make it about 10 times bigger than a 747. This is a very rough guess, as we can't accurately ascertain how high this craft really was. It had twin tails, a body like an overfed space shuttle and a Vulcan bomber, big, thick, load-carrying wings which were flush with the hull, a massive rectangular engine bay in the rear about a third the width of the craft. This craft was clearly landing somewhere northeast of the site. This could be Machrihanish or anywhere from Sweden to Finland or even northern Russia. LJ is not the only pirate operator to be abducted. Frankie, up in Derry, was also abducted a number of times before he created the radio station Riverside 101, which was a pirate which operated in Derry City for years after KISS closed in 1988. His Q102.9 transmitter was the original Radio Nova 88 FM Dublin transmitter used in 1982. As a licensed broadcaster, this transmitter was at the BBC's Sheriff's Mountain transmitter site west of Derry City. But something happened to this transmitter when it was in use at the BBC's transmitter site. As with all transmitters from Ofcom or BBC transmitter sites that we have encountered, the transmitters all have a fluidic black energy in them. We must purge this before they will work as a pirate free thought transmitter. They simply don't work unless you do this. Even the antenna system that Q102 used was dripping with a black fluidic intelligent energy, as if both the transmitter and antenna had been dropped into thick black crude oil. Even when we used these antennas, they did not work well and stimulated aggression and violent behaviour amongst the team at Magic 105 and Energy 106. Note the Crow is aware and came over to inspect what was going on.
We're about to talk about black energy coming out of this device here, which is the Radio Nova 1 kilowatt FM transmitter. And we have the company of a wonderful crow who's complaining a great deal about what I'm doing. Well, Mr. Crow, you've been monitoring, and now you're monitoring, and we're making it known that we understand that you're looking and monitoring about black energy, an intelligent black energy that is used to control us all through transmitters and all other communication devices.
When we received this transmitter in London for sale and disposal, we opened it and saw a huge volume of black energy drop out of it. It is very rare to have an item like this, so we taped this report on it.
What happens to this black energy is that, well, let's open the thing up and we'll describe it. It's an intelligent energy based on thought, and it's interdimensional in nature. The triode valve in there, which is ground grid, so there's total isolation electrically, RF-wise, in input and output. And the important thing about this is, as with all the transmitters which we've dealt with the pirate station, in order to get these things to work on a pirate station, we have to depurge all the black energy that's in them. Okay, that's one of the most important elements. When Energy 106 was on its last hours, we had a situation where a similar transmitter, this much larger, doing 10 kilowatts, also ex-Radio Nova, which we operated in Ireland, up until February 2005, was that we had black octopoidal life forms, like thought forms, walking around inside like crabs or that kind of type of creature. Not very pleasant. They were targeted and put in there using thought by beings which control us and make sure our thought levels and our thought realities and things which we do with our minds and everything else are restricted. By using these kind of transmitters, any means or any mechanism which is able to communicate with many minds physically, a transmitter, it could be a letter, it could be a book, it could be anything which transfers thought by any mechanism. The point about this is, when this was used by Radio Nova, it was transmitting white light, a white light energy which energized everybody's consciousness, and which is why Radio Nova was such a magnificent, massively powerful station. Because it energized all the young people in Ireland and everybody else who listened to it, and bingo, positive thought and a whole evolution and sea change in culture happened. But the species of beings which keep us down are threatened by our very power and consciousness. So what they do is they use mechanisms, subtle mechanisms like this that we don't understand, pump the black energy into it, and that makes us all feel bad and down, creates war, tension and all that sort of stuff. And the actual parent or larger life forms, these huge, massive, interdimensional, octopoidal, spiry type creatures,
or don't want to be here. They want to be back in their own dimension. But they've been imported into our reality in order to feed on us and cause us problems. And we have them in every single broadcast facility in the world. Every single computer system in the world, the whole lot. But if you know about it, you can counter it. They are not the problem. The problem are the people using them, and that's the key. Okay? So, there it is. As we mentioned, the black energy coming out of the transmitter, the audio collapsed in level. To the left is the normal voiceover that we were doing normally, but once we actually started to mention the transmitter and this black energy that came out of it, watch how the audio collapses in level during those very words. We'll now play the computer. Live at Energy 106. The audio's at the normal level. Of this black energy. Now the audio's down. We received this transmitter in London for sale and disposal in January 2007. We opened up and the audio was almost completely gone. This is a classic example of how this energy is still active, even though it happened many years ago. Energy drop out of it like a giant black blob of fluid energy. Note, at the very point I said out, that's the out word, when it physically came out of the transmitter, look how massively large the signal is. This is a classic example of how this black energy is intelligent. It responds to thought even though we are talking many, many months ago. Even though the transmitter was off, the energy was still inside it. This is a classic example of how this black etheric tar type energy works. It's still there, it's still active, it's waiting for us. That's why the Crow was so immediately concerned. And that is why the pirate stations, which broadcast for over 40 to 50 years, were so important in bringing us a higher awareness. And that is what this is all about. As we close this edit of Basis 4, a scientific discussion at the Royal Society London was held on, quote, the detection of extraterrestrial life and the consequences for science and society. While for 1 second we do not expect these eminent scientists to ever even mention the word UFO or ET, or for 1 moment actually recognize any of the real UFO and sociological abduction data, the message is in the title. Perhaps these scientists are telling us what they really think in the titles of their discussion and not necessarily in the obfuscation and waffle of their discussion. One of the subjects for discussion was from a Dr. Paul Davies of Arizona State University on searching for a shadow biosphere on Earth as a test for the cosmic imperative. As we have just seen, as we edited this very section on shadow life forms in our transmitters and in the broadcast system as a whole, we had direct interaction with our equipment, the audio, and we got a signal as we spoke the very words. Barry King, Lisa Williams, James Casbolt, Matt Todd, the late Bill Newhouse, Ray Wardle, Nikki, and Agent Delta, all our main witnesses have military connections in some way or another. Barry King worked in the military base AL-499 at Peasmore. He is our original whistleblower. On behalf, he claims, of British intelligence. Williams, her son's father, is a US Air Force officer. He would mention when the aeroplane men would come and visit. Are these aliens or US military that visit? She backs up King's claims in Bases 1 and as a multiple abductee herself with various types of grey. Casbolt, he claims he is the son of an ex-MI6 agent. He is a multiple MyLab and ET experiencer. He backs up and greatly expands on King's claims. He says the violet flame is really one of the only things that work in forms of protection. Matt Todd has multiple military abductee experiences. He is active in getting back the ETs. He provides protective devices. He claims to have killed 3 aliens in an unspecified base and released multiple abductees. His data is consistent with another researcher's data at a possible ET base in Gorebridge in Scotland. The late Bill Newhouse, he worked with ETs at the test site. Could this be Area 51? His ET was called J-Raw. He describes the security and training required before one can work with the ET. This shows close US military contact with ETs. Ray Wardle, abducted and implanted at an RAF base in England, further showing close UK military contact with ETs. He found indications of underground bases in Nevada dealing with ETs. He suffered very severely for this. Nikki, our CIA mind control victim. This further confirms King's and Casbolt's claims of secret mind control and population control operations with children for nefarious purposes. Agent Delta, the Belfast spy, abducted by his own team to be interrogated by a non-human but with humans present after he was shown a full display of alien craft over Ireland, which further underlines the UK military have complete liaison and access to a hidden alien population amongst us. All these individuals have one thing in common: the military. So it is no small wonder that the British Ministry of Defence have now closed their office dealing with UFOs, as there is no defence significance. This is entirely logical, as it's now perfectly clear. They are completely involved with these non-human beings, or we could call them aliens. They are involved with the abductions. They are involved with MILABs and secret agendas against the population at large. They are complicit with the systematic abduction, control and experimentation on sections of our population for nefarious ends. They are compromised. We are on our own. We will never get any disclosure unless we do it ourselves.
And finally, over the years at Energy 106, we had experiences, some of which we managed to catch on film. St. Patrick's Chair itself gave us a little sign. A little green tetrahedron appeared for us sitting right on the chair. Another time was when we were linked with Egypt, when we had a special link with a certain situation in the pyramids. We had a little fella join us from way across the horizon. Brilliant, bright in color. It came and gave us a sign. This was one of the signatures that what we were doing at Alien Mountain had special significance as we transmitted the ITS. After all the transmitters were gone.
That is just over there. Now let's see. We're getting RFI somewhere around here.
Just as we walked out, the viewfinder of the camera went all weird and strange, and we knew as the transmitters were gone and the antennas allegedly disconnected that we had company in the container.
Something is here. I think we've got company. Got a real strange feeling around here.
Whereabouts is it?
Around about here. We've got company.
This is Energy 106, signing off.
Nothing else much to do here at the moment.